What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Ben Thomas Show. Thanks for coming back. Guys, Happy New Year. It's 2024, and I've been thinking about what figures I would love to see Hot Toys, InArt, J&D make this year in 6 scale. Now, these might be franchises that exist already, or licenses we haven't seen 6 scale companies tackle yet, but this is my top 10 list of wish list characters that I really hope we get a chance to see in the coming years, at least 2024. Cross your fingers. But I also want to hear from you guys. What's on your wish list of characters that you would love to see? Let me know in the comments down below. But if you like the video, hit the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to the Ben Thomas Show, and let's get into it.
I give you Ben Thomas Showtime. Here we go.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. So let's start with some honorable mentions before we get into the top 10, because there's just so many characters that I'd love to see. So these are the honorable mentions first. My first 3 honorable mentions have to start with Indiana Jones, especially from Raiders of the Lost Ark. I would love a Temple of Doom or even a Last Crusade indie, but for me, Indiana Jones is just one of those characters that for me as a kid, I absolutely loved. I watched those movies on repeat. Downfall there is that I don't think we're ever going to get a Harrison Ford young likeness again. It's one of the reasons that Han Solo actually won't appear on this list today, because I just don't think it's going to happen. But if it happened, I would love to see Han Solo or Indiana Jones here. Now, the next one is maybe a strange one, maybe a film that you guys haven't seen or didn't love back in the day. This was one for me that I loved. It's, of course, Hugh Jackman in the role of Van Helsing. Now, it was a fun movie. Popcorn kind of flick, right? Not to be taken too seriously, but I always thought he was a badass in the movie. He comes with some really cool weaponry. I like the outfit, and it doesn't seem like Hugh Jackman is too reluctant to give his likeness away for figures. So cross your fingers, maybe one day we'll see a Van Helsing. And then last on the honorable mentions list here, you gotta talk about Kate Beckinsale from the Underworld series, right? Now, those movies slowly got, I think, worse over time. The first couple of Underworld films, I really enjoyed. She is so sexy, and I loved the outfit. I loved the character. Kate Beckinsale would definitely make an honorables mention list. If they made a figure of her, she would be on my shelf 1000%. Now, cross your fingers, it would be leather, though, and not pleather, because we all know how that can go for sure. Okay, so first up on the top 10 list has to be A New Hope Leia. I always thought this was a really cool look for Leia, but I think the one thing that really stands out to me here is the hairstyle, as well as her badassery persona. She gave no shit. She was super cool, but super, like, firm in her stance. And I thought that was great, especially for the age of Star Wars, for the time in which this came out. And she was beautiful. The outfit's really cool, very iconic. I've got the New Hope Luke I would pair her with. For me, Leia definitely is on the list, especially if Hot Toys has an opportunity to go back and revisit older characters. Cross your fingers, they could get a secured likeness rights for this character, because Leia here would definitely come to my collection. What about you? Maybe 2024? Cross your fingers. Next on the list has to be Namor. Now, the film was not as good in my opinion because it was missing that Chadwick Boseman, but I still loved the film, and one of the best parts of that movie for me, Wakanda Forever, was the character of Namor. He was so powerful and a little scary, definitely intimidating. Multiple looks. This would be ideal for that kind of seamless Fison body in my opinion. Yes, I think it looks a little bit like Marco from 1/6 but I think that's okay because really cool character. And of course, his ties in with possible X-Men. He didn't die at the end of that film. There's a chance we might see this character again in the MCU at some point. It'd be cool to get Namor in the collection. But what about you guys? Do you agree with that? Is this one that you've been waiting for? Let me know your comments down below. Next on my list is maybe a weird one, because I loved the show of Peacemaker. In fact, Peacemaker, the figure, is on my top 10 list of figures of 2023 for me. But we talked a little bit about in the past that I don't have much to pair him with. King Shark is the only other character from the Suicide Squad I could pair him with that's, through official channels. And Peacemaker from the show only got the character of Peacemaker. While I would say Vigilante here was one of the standout performances in the show as well. Not only was the character funny, he was a badass fighter. I thought the outfit that he wears is kind of funny. I think it relates well to 6 scale. I think you could make a really good looking character out of it. And you could just make them look so silly together. Look at the tongue out on Peacemaker here. I haven't been able to find a good pose for Peacemaker with the tongue out yet, but posed up next to Vigilante? Yeah, maybe. I could see it. So for me, Vigilante makes the wish list, and I feel like he'd be easy for Hot Toys to do. You don't even have to give him the head sculpt of the actor if you don't want to avoid likeness rights. Just give us the masked version. I'd be okay with that too. But what do you guys think? 2024? Next up, I want to talk more about the cast of characters from The Matrix 1, 2, and 3. Because it's been a while since Hot Toys has revisited these films. I've got the Neo from the first Matrix movie. Now, while I think that the 6 scale version is pretty strong, especially when I don't have much else to compare him to, I do like the figure in the collection. But The Matrix is such an iconic film. There are so many characters that I feel like Hot Toys needs to consider revisiting. Third party is going to take over in the Matrix world for figures, but I think that Hot Toys could do it better, let's be honest, right? There's been some decent looking Morpheuses that have been coming, but I want at least the top 3. Trinity, I want to see Neo again, I want to see that Morpheus for sure. There's a couple other characters that I think from the rest of the films that they could make, including the twins, that I think people would want in their collection, and a really good Agent Smith. I looked at a figure at my local comic store recently for $500. It was called the Transcender. And it's supposed to be Agent Smith. It wasn't so good. Not for $500 anyways. And so for me, The Matrix, if they're going to need some revisiting work this year in 2024, damn do I hope that they go back and reconsider giving us more from the Matrix films. Even the chair, the pill, there's so many things that they could do. Come on, Hot Toys, give it to us here. 2024, I'm looking at you. Next on the list has to be Batman Returns, the Penguin. Now, there's been a couple third-party Penguins that have been announced in 2023 that look okay. I think in person they probably look a little bit better, or I'm hoping for it anyways. But I chose not to pull the trigger on those quite yet, because we've seen Hot Toys revisiting the Batman 89 film with the upgraded suit last year in 2023, and I was kind of hoping that we'd maybe see an upgraded Jack Nicholson Joker, but again, I think with likeness rights, we probably won't see that from Jack Nicholson. So let's move on then to Batman Returns. And in Batman Returns, there's some really iconic imagery with the Penguin and Danny DeVito's character that I think relates well to 6 scale. Some of the accessories that he could have, the fish bucket, some of the penguins, some of the different umbrella accessories that he could have would be so cool to have in 6 scale. He's such a unique looking character too, and for me it captures that nostalgic punch from my childhood of watching these Batman films. You know, Batman Returns I actually used to watch at Christmas because it kind of felt Christmassy, even though it's also a little bit creepy, not gonna lie. Now, while on the same subject as Batman Returns, it wouldn't be a top 10 list wish list without Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. Guys, like, I know most of us have been asking for her for a really long time, and I know that Mars Toys did tease a Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman this year. I've also seen a 6 scale statue of this character in the past that I thought was not too bad, but I would love to see Hot Toys revisit the Batman Returns line with the iconic Michelle Pfeiffer. Give her even the second head sculpt, right? With the, the battle damage and the hair hanging out like this. I think that could be so cool. She is so beautiful, such an iconic actress. Even now, the most recent film I think I saw her in was Quantumania, and she was still a beautiful badass lady in that movie. But going back to Batman Returns, the Batman Returns line needs more love. Just that figure of Batman isn't enough to represent that in our collections. And don't let the third parties win. Come on, Hot Toys, give us a Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman in 2024. Now I know this is one that we've been asking for a while as well, but tentatively, I actually just picked up the MMS 117 T800 Terminator figure in 2023, and while that's a 14-year-old figure, it's still really freaking cool. I love it. It represents the Terminator in my collection. You can actually see him right here behind me. I absolutely love it. He's got the flower box with the shotgun pulling out. But Terminator 1 or Terminator 2 Judgment Day have some very iconic scenes here with Arnold that I feel like could be revisited. I think Hot Toys did great work with some of the DX lines of the Terminator in the past, but those figures are starting to show their age a little bit. In the age now of more premium materials like leather, more premium hairstyles like Artisan, and with companies like InArt and J&D in the fold there as well, I wouldn't be totally surprised if we see another revisit to Terminator, despite 2.0 sometimes souring people, and I can understand why. At the same time, this is an iconic movie franchise. I would love to see a Terminator again. And if they don't give us Arnold, I would even still take the endoskeleton underneath. I think that would be really cool for the collection as well. But if I had to have this representation even in the collection, I'd be okay with that. But Arnold, Terminator, come on. 2024, if there's a hole in the figure market, give it to us, guys. Give it to us. Now, I also think it's worth mentioning, in terms of a top 10 list of wish list items, Sarah Connor. Sarah Connor's a badass. I loved her portrayal in especially Judgment Day, and Linda Hamilton herself really defined what it meant to be a powerful female lead character in a film back when the Terminator franchise was out. She was really awesome. She had some badass scenes. The musculature on her in those films was fantastic. Like, she crushed it for this role. And I don't know if I can think of another 6-scale version out there of Sarah Connor that actually looks all that good. Let me know if I'm wrong, maybe I've missed it, but I would love to see a Sarah Connor, just another powerful female representation in my 6-scale collection in 2024. Now, next on the list is a bit of a strange one. I just got the DeLorean Part 2 in my collection, and I love it, guys. It looks so freaking cool. But in 2023, we also got Back to the Future 3 Doc and Marty. And in some of those solicitation photos, they actually kind of teased this version of the DeLorean with the red rims, and I think it's a good thing to consider for Hot Toys. I feel like for the most part, they already have the molds of the DeLorean. There's only a few things that they would have to really change in order to bring this to fruition. For those completionist collectors or the people who just absolutely love Back to the Future, having the third car in the collection almost feels like a necessity. It would be really cool to see the Gen 1, Gen 2, and Gen 3 all on a shelf representing Back to the Future. Because let's be honest, the car is just as much of a character of the Back to the Future films as the actors themselves. It's so iconic, we need it. And give us something cool like this. This isn't a Hot Toys, this isn't even 6-scale, but give us a little railroad diorama or something that changes it up, something that you can swap the wheels for the train track wheels instead. That would be really, really cool. Let's hope we see the DeLorean Part 3 in 2024. Now, last on the list is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but the Turtles specifically from the 90s film, the original movie. I loved the look of them in that film. Back when I was younger, to me, that was like seeing real-life Ninja Turtles on the screen. I loved the movie. I even liked Secret of the Ooze, but there was some changes to the costume. They couldn't use their weapons in the second movie. I didn't love that. The first film, you still get all their weapons. You still get their iconic look. I've got the NECA 7-inch Turtles, and while I gotta say, they are amazing figures. I would love to see the Turtles in 6-scale. I just would. And there's no likeness rights to the Turtles, so is it something that Hot Toys could secure? Maybe, but I think that they would lend themselves very well to figure format. Quarter scale is too much for me. The 7-inch scale isn't enough. 6 scale is where it's at. So cross your fingers in 2024. Maybe we'll get some unique licenses like the Turtles to look forward to. But I would say the Turtles have to make the list for me if I'm going to talk about wish list characters, because they represent such a large portion of my childhood, just like Batman the Animated Series did, and so many more. But guys, what do you think about the list today? Is this a list that you agree with? Would you add characters to my wish list? Which ones, if you did? I would love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Otherwise, I hope you had an excellent New Year's Eve with your friends or your families, that you were safe. If you're just joining here, the Ben Thomas Show in 2024, we got a lot to look forward to. So guys, stick around, hit the like button if you can, smash the subscribe if you're new to the Ben Thomas Show, and I'll catch you guys on the next video in 2024. Happy New Year, everybody.
I'll be back.